separated by 300 miles. Today, this installment of the series will be decided when Yovani Gallardo faces Dallas Keuchel. Your Rangers meet the Astros next. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T UVerse TV. And another big crowd here at Minute Maid Park this afternoon. The Rangers taking on the Houston Astros in the rubber game of this three-game series. And welcome in, everyone, along with Mark McLemore, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this Sunday afternoon matinee. The Rangers looking to make it 2 in a row over the Astros and win the series down here in Houston. And back, it's going to be a good pitching matchup this afternoon. A couple of guys who are really throwing the ball well. Dallas Keuchel for the Astros and Yovani Gallardo for the Rangers.
Yeah, this is going to be a great matchup, Buzz, and this is the rubber game, and what better way to finish it off with the team's two best pitchers. One was the starting pitcher for the American League All-Star team. The other very well could have been on that All-Star team. Yovani Gallardo's done a tremendous job for the Rangers, especially his last 10 outings. He's just gotten better and better as the season's gone on. Hasn't had a whole lot of run support, so hopefully that will change, and it has been lately. So hopefully the Rangers will be able to continue that. And Dallas Keuchel has been the Astros ace all year long, just pitching well, 11-4 on the year. 15 of his 19 starts this year have been quality starts, so he is a very, very tough opponent for the Rangers.
One guy is tough to beat on the road, and one guy has not been beaten at home this year. So we'll see. Something's got to give in this one, and we'll see if the Rangers can come out on top here this afternoon. Ranaudo, who got things going last night in more ways than one, getting set along with his teammates. We'll be back with more of our pregame right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer to kick off the summer right. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. The lineup cards being exchanged at home plate here this afternoon. Rangers looking to make it 2 in a row over these Houston Astros and win the first series after the All-Star break. A lot of things going on last night. We'll talk about those things and the ramifications for today as we get things going. But first, before we get started, let's head down and check in with John Radigan.
Yeah, Buzz, when Yovani Gallardo pitched for the Brewers, the Astros were in his National League Central Division at that time, so he's faced them many times. 14 wins in 18 starts against the Astros for Yovani, and he's got a 5-2 record here at Minute Maid with a 2.34 ERA. So, needless to say, he has fond memories of this place.
I enjoyed hitting, period, and I think it's, I think it's taken me. It took me a while to get used to, not hitting this year, but like I said, it's been fun.
Oh, yeah, that hitting thing. Yeah, Yovani, who actually just walked by and headed back into the dugout, doesn't get to hit with the American League. He misses that. He loved hitting here. He loved hitting pretty much everywhere, but no chance to hit here. He will get the chance to pitch, though, against these Astros. And as Buzz mentioned, there might be a little bit extra today between these two teams as the rivalry was stirred just a little bit last night. Lots more coming up. We've got the starting lineups and the first pitch as we get you ready for baseball on Fox Sports Southwest.
and Minute Maid Park. A big crowd on hand, and Keuchel's corner in evidence. All the yellow or all the gold shirts, orange shirts down the left field line in honor of Dallas Keuchel, the Astros starting pitcher. Matt's going to tell you now about the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers lineup that will face Keuchel today.
All right, leading off for the Rangers, Delino DeShields. He'll play center field. Rougned Odor will bat second and play second base. Prince Fielder's the DH, and he'll hit third. Adrian Beltre in the cleanup spot, playing third base. Josh Hamilton will be in right, hitting fifth. Ryan Ruhr will play left field and hit sixth. Elvis Andrews will play shortstop, bat seventh. Adam Rosales gets to start at first base. He'll hit eighth. And doing the catching, hitting ninth, Robinson Chirinos.
And that lineup will have its hands full this afternoon. Dallas Keuchel on the hill, the starter for the American League in the All-Star game. 8-0 in this ballpark this year. Good curveball, very good fastball, outstanding changeup. His changeup as good as you're going to see in Major League Baseball. Not overpowering unless he starts getting that changeup in every single time that he throws it. Then that fastball becomes even more quick. Rangers will try to get him out of sync. He likes to work quickly and take very little time in between pitches. Rangers may step out, take a little extra time getting into the batter's box. Maybe as Rougned Odor did last night that drew the ire of Hank Conger. So Dallas Keuchel out there this afternoon. This is his first appearance, obviously, since that All-Star game start. 8-0 the record here with a 1.24 home ERA. Take a look at the Astros defense that backs up Keuchel here this afternoon. Preston Tucker is in left field. Jake Marisnik in center. Colby Rasmus in right. John Singleton again the start at first. Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa up the middle. Luis Valbuena at third. And Jason Castro is catching for Keuchel this afternoon. Keuchel, the left-hander out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, by way of the University of Arkansas. No, Delino DeShields stepping in, ready to get things underway. Rangers come in at 43-47. They are trailing the Los Angeles Angels in the AL West by 7 full games. First pitch of the day is in for strike one. Rangers have won 5 of the 8 games this year against the Astros. So this is kind of a turn of events. Rangers, of course, struggled last year against Houston after dominating the Silver Boot for the previous 7 or 8 years. Last year, a different story as the Astros got the better of the Rangers. And Dallas Keuchel, who has not had a decision in 2 starts against the Rangers this year, matching up against a familiar foe. 0-2 pitch to DeShields. Up the middle by Keuchel. Altuve, off-balance throw. He got it. And they're going to yell for Jeff Bannister to come on up and hold things up there a second. Hector Ortiz, the first base coach for the Rangers, immediately signaled, pointing into the dugout saying, hey, take a look at that replay. Joey Probinski upstairs will get all the angles and tell Steve Buechele, who's on the phone, whether this is a good challenge or not. And boy, that is bang bang, that play. So they're not going to challenge it.
Wow.
Delino DeShields coming back to the dugout. That is close at first base.
I don't think it could be any closer than that, but you know, you can already tell, you can get the sense of intensity already in just that first at bat.
Now Odor, first ball swinging, grounds out to Altuve, and really quickly there are 2 outs here in the first. Altuve handling both of them, that more routine. The first play with DeShields running, great play by Altuve to get the speedy Delino DeShields.
He didn't have much time to get to the ball, number one, off the deflection of Keuchel, and then make another off-balance throw going the opposite direction of first base. He can sure play some second base.
That he can. So 2-way base is empty. Here's Prince Fielder, who steps in, hitting at .338. Again, that's the second in the American League. The disabled list bound Miguel Cabrera is still atop things at .350. 1 ball, no strikes. Prince, 14 home runs, 54 RBI. A .250 average in his career against Keuchel. Going the other way, that is a fair ball. and it's headed toward the corner. Ducker to play the carom. Fielder steaming into second base, an opposite field double for Prince. Maybe we say it too much, but he gives us the opportunity to say it every time he does that, taking it the other way with authority.
Yes, he does. Almost every single day. He gets a fastball out over the middle of the plate. A little in, but takes it the other way, shoots it down that third base line into left field for a double. Again, a nice piece of hitting.
Yeah.
Taking what's given to him. He's hitting the ball hard, barreling the ball up as often as anybody on this team right now.
So Fielder now in scoring position. Adrian Beltre, who had a great at-bat last night late in the ballgame, in that ninth inning, takes the changeup that floats outside for ball one. Beltre, a key RBI in the ninth, a great at-bat for Adrian. Fouled off pitch after pitch against Josh Fields, and finally got a pitch more in the middle of the plate, was able to bang it into center field for one of the 2 runs that the Rangers put on the board in the top of the ninth inning. They turned out to be big runs. And again, Adrian dropping that bat. Maybe an indication that left hand still not where he would like it. That thumb a little bit slow to heal. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Keuchel came in with a breaking ball.
You know, thumb's, I'm sure it's not 100%. I'm not sure that it's ever going to be 100% for the rest of the year, because he's using it every day, both offensively and defensively. But I also kind of think that he's just being a little coy up there sometimes, making a pitcher think that he can't get to a pitch inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. Check his swing. That's a pretty good breaking ball. 2-2 now. Yeah, you hitters, you have a tendency to do that occasionally.
Well, there were some very smart hitters still left in the game, and Adrian Beltre is one of them.
Yes,
there's no question about it.
Yes, he is. Beltre, as you saw, a .258 average. And that's sneaking up to territory he has not been at this year, average-wise. Keuchel taking a little too long, reading the signs from Jason Castro. Fielder at second base, 2 outs here in the top of the first inning. Scoreless ball game. Beltre trying to put a number up on the board for the Rangers. 3-2. And Keuchel, a quick glance over to the on-deck circle, and that was Josh Hamilton waiting over there to follow Beltre.
You can see that big pad that Beltre's got on that thumb. Try and help him out, relieve some of the pressure when he takes a swing.
Payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Keuchel pulling the string. Beltre gone on strikes. Prince Fielder's double goes for naught. Rangers strand a runner. Half an inning in the books. Rangers nothing. Astros coming up. is going to catch you up on the Astros starting lineup.
All right, leading off for the Astros, Jose Altuve. He'll play second base. Left fielder's Preston Tucker. He'll bat second. Carlos Correa will bat third and be at shortstop. Colby Rasmus is in right field. He'll be the cleanup hitter. Evan Gaddis will be the DH in fifth. Luis Valbuena will play third and bat sixth. John Singleton's at first base and in seventh. Jake Marisnick in center, batting eighth, and Jason Castro will do the catching and bat ninth.
And that lineup facing the Rangers, 29-year-old right-hander Giovanni Gallardo. Gallardo just 7-8, but with that 2.62 ERA in 19 starts tells you he's been very, very effective. As a matter of fact, that ERA down to 1.29 in his last 9 starts. Commanding the fastball and slider have been extremely well lately, and he has been able to dot the I's and cross the T's with those 2 pitches. Astros are a team that Giovanni, if he has commanded that slider in particular, can rack up some strikeouts. So you look for him to go to that pitch if he has good control of it when he needs the punch out. Get a runner at second and nobody out, or a runner at third and less than 2 out. Altuve bangs one into the hole, but right there, Elvis Andrus. One gone. Elvis just a step to his right to backhand that, and Altuve is shot down. And we'll take a look at the rest of the Rangers defense delivered to you this afternoon by Break Check. Outfield has Ryan Rua getting the start in left field today. Liner to Shields in center, Josh Hamilton to right. Adam Rosales with the left-hander on the mound is starting at first. Odor and Andrews up the middle. Beltre at third. Chirinos for the 3rd straight day back behind the plate. Rogers are taking all those foul balls, and he's in there 3 straight days.
All those foul balls are a day game after a night game.
That's right.
I like it.
He had a home run last night. I think it'd be pretty tough to pry him out of the lineup. Yeah. Preston Tucker taking that pitch outside. Gallardo now with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Tucker hitting it at even 250. 5 home runs and 21 RBI. But over his last 9 ball games, Tucker's been a .333 hitter. 2-1. Gallardo with that 22 1/3 inning scoreless streak on the road. That is the 4th longest in club history. Good changeup. And the count evens now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Longest in club history, you have to go back to 1977. Gaylord Perry put up a couple of scoreless streaks in that year. 40. The longest for Gaylord. He also had a 25-inning scoreless streak. Nolan Ryan had one of 24 in 89. That ball's hit well down the right field line, but it's hooking into the seats. Still 2-2. And you saw Scott Feldman put together a streak in 2009 that was 4th in Ranger annals. And Gallardo looking to bypass that with a complete inning of scoreless baseball here today. 2-2 to Tucker. Odor on to Rosales, 2 gone. Next will be Carlos Correa. Giovanni Gallardo may get kind of lost in comparison's sake with ground balls. Whereas Dallas Keuchel, the most efficient ground ball pitcher in all of baseball. Almost 5 ground balls for every fly ball that he gives up. But Gallardo has had more than 50% ground balls this year, which for him is really saying something. That's a complete change from the way he was, say, 3 or 4 years ago. More of a power pitcher, more of a high fastball curveball pitcher. Kind of up there sometimes. That's that knockdown curveball. Most ground balls in the American League this year. Dallas Keuchel with 49 more than Mark Burley and Sonny Gray. But Giovanni Gallardo, he's in that second group right there.
You're getting more ground balls than Mark Burley. You're doing something.
Yeah. Yeah, Dallas Keuchel's taken that to a whole different level. And this is an era where you don't see many true sinker ball pitchers anymore. You know, guys are kind of raised in pitching to throw as hard as you possibly can on the four-seam fastball. And not many guys develop that good sinker and the command to pitch with it. 3-0 the count to Correa. And ball 4. Ranaudo gives up the 2-out walk to Correa, and he'll face Colby Rasmus. You can tell by the body language and the look on Giovanni's face, he's not particularly concerned about that base on balls. Giovanni has not been giving up many, but been able to work around most of the ones he has. Averaging about just a little bit better than a walk every 3 innings. Colby Rasmus moving up to the cleanup spot this afternoon. Rasmus a .234 average. 11 home runs, 29 driven in. Correa kind of got that shaky front leg over there at first base that time. I think he might have been going. He was kind of anxious. Rasmus fouls that first pitch straight back. Apologize for the inconvenience. We're having a little technical difficulty with our Foxbox, our score graphic for you. Get a new mouse for the wheel down there and get it back up to you quickly. Saw the numbers. Colby Rasmus, a .316 hitter against Giovanni Gallardo. Hits this one hard right, and after Rosales didn't have to move an inch. All he had to do was make sure the glove was up in front of the ball, and it would have killed him otherwise. Now the walker left stranded will go to the second scoreless in Houston. Fans will receive a Rangers Cowboy hat courtesy of Coca-Cola and Walmart. You want to make sure and get your tickets for this one. You don't want to miss this must-have accessory. Just visit TexasRangers.com or you can call 972-RANGERS to get your tickets. Josh Hamilton leading off the Rangers' second inning. Hamilton, Ryan Rua, and Elvis Andrus, the first 3 to face Dallas Keuchel. Rangers had a 2-out Prince Fielder double in the first inning but left him stranded. Hamilton with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Josh 6 out of 15 against Keuchel in his career. A home run is among those 6 hits. into center field over the leap of Correa. And Hamilton has a Keuchel base hit. Well, that's 4 straight hits now, going back to last night for Josh Hamilton.
You know, he was right on that breaking ball, and that's something that we haven't been seeing a lot of. You know, typically he's been out front of it, but he stayed right on that one, right back up the middle. Ooh, gotta turn that ankle a little bit there. You know, sometimes the batter's box can be real sticky, so you can't get your feet up quite enough to get out of there and come out of there cleanly.
Now that's an issue anytime you see Josh kind of stumble like that and lose his balance with the hamstring issue and the groin pull issue, that you're concerned about that every time you see something like that happen to him. But he appears to be okay down there at first. So 1 on, nobody out. Ryan Rua, a 182 hitter with 3 home runs, 3 RBI. Jeff Bannister trying to get a larger right-handed contingent in that lineup this afternoon against Keuchel. Now 1-1 as Rua showed bunt. Ryan checking with Tony Beasley down there at third. See what Jeff Bannister might have in mind. Rua 0 for his last 7. You have to go back to the first couple of games in July to find his last base hit. He hasn't seen the field a lot. Has not had much of an opportunity. Once Josh Hamilton came back, Rangers had kind of a crowded outfield with Delino DeShields and Hamilton and Martin and Chu.
Yeah, that's a tough job coming off the bench, you know, once a week or twice a week to get at bats. And typically, the way it typically works is that when you do get a chance to start, you're facing a guy like a Dallas Keuchel.
Yeah.
It just seems to be, you know, how it goes, and it's unfortunate, but you know, it's part of the job.
And Keuchel gets that second strikeout. Rua gone. Now Elvis Andrus. Yeah, and I would think for Ryan too, coming back, spending all the time on the disabled list, trying to get himself back together timing-wise and game shape-wise, makes it even a more difficult transition.
It really does. You sit out that long, you play some rehab games, whether it's 20, 25, 30. If you finally get into that rhythm and get your timing back, and you come back and then your playing time is sporadic, it just makes it that much more difficult.
Now here's Elvis hitting at 245. He has not had a whole lot of luck against Dallas Keuchel, as that 206 average would tell you. And Keuchel fires a knee-high strike to even the count. Elvis, a 5-game hitting streak, so he's back on the upswing again, no pun intended. Hit .412 over those 5 games. 7 for 17. Like a cutter from Keuchel, got it in under the fists of Elvis, and it's 1-2. Along with a 5-game hitting streak that you're looking at, Elvis has reached base safely in his last 8 ball games, either by a hit or a walk. That pitch fouled into and out of the glove of Jason Castro. 1-2. Mentioned Dallas Keuchel, a couple of starts earlier this year against the Rangers, both resulting in a no decision. The start on the 10th of May was a Ranger 4-2 win. That pitch low and outside. On the 17th, on the 12th of April, Rangers were defeated by the Astros 6-4. Got him swinging. Again, cutting inside to Elvis, and back-to-back strikeouts for Dallas Keuchel. 2 gone. And speaking of Dallas Keuchel, our Kubota Power Stats tell you in 10 home starts this season, a perfect 8-0 mark, that 1.24 ERA and almost 73 innings of work. Opposition hitting less than 200 against him. And he has not allowed a home run in this bandbox that I will charitably throw out there. Well, no, and it's a fair ballpark from the standpoint if you have a lot of room from left center field to right center field to pitch to. But anything to straightaway right or straightaway left, it's not much to get it out of here.
Not really liking those dimensions?
No. No. And Rosales, a little tapper back to the mound, and after Hamilton's leadoff single, Rangers can't do anything to solve Dallas Keuchel. Rangers strand their second runner. We played an inning and a half. No score in Houston. Hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself on an upcoming broadcast. And it's all made possible by the good folks at T-Mobile. Well, Yovani Gallardo back to the hill to start the bottom of the second inning. He'll face Evan Gattis, Luis Valbuena, and John Singleton. Scoreless ball game. Rangers with the only 2 hits of the game. And Gattis, the designated hitter, takes ball 1. 241 the average for Gattis with 15 home runs, 54 RBI. That on-base percentage now coming up toward respectability. Got off to an awful start coming over to the Astros this year. Once he's settled in, though, he has produced some thump, which is exactly why they brought him over for the middle of that lineup. Against the Rangers, you have to remember that the first 3 games that he played against the Rangers in April, I don't think he made contact the entire series. He didn't make contact for the first 2 weeks of the season.
No, he did not. It was not very pretty.
No.
It worked for us, but I'm sure Gattis wasn't happy with that. But he's definitely turned things around.
Three balls, no strikes. And a strike to the inside corner. There's baseball fans remember Gattis for a couple of years with the Atlanta Braves. He hit 263 last year with Atlanta, 22 home runs, and that's the kind of production the Astros were looking for. Sent 3 young prospects, including hard-throwing Mike Foltynewicz, over to the Braves in exchange for Gattis. Swings through that high fastball, and it's a full count. Gattis leading off the Astros second inning. He'll be followed by the third baseman, Luis Valbuena. Gallardo to the wind, the payoff pitch. Off to the right, out of play. We'll try it again. 2013, Gattis also had 21 home runs in just 105 ball games. drove in 81. So pretty much on pace to do just what he did in the National League. Target set, low and away. And Gaddis pounds one right back through the middle, a base hit. Well, it might have been away, but it wasn't low, and Gaddis had a pretty good hack at it as he singles to open up the second. We're talking about the Yovani Gallardo, our Lowe's Never Stop Improving feature. Showing you that the last 10 starts for Gallardo, there's that 1.29 ERA. The opponent's average less than 200. Previous 9 starts, well, not quite so good. 4.26 ERA and 2.68 opponent's average and 7 home runs. So Yovani has improved markedly. Looking to try and keep that roll going as Valbuena takes outside for ball 1.
Yeah, you look at those numbers, Buzz. His first 9 starts compared to the last 10 starts. Just an incredible turnaround. Mm-hmm. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think a couple of things, Mac, that he needed to get his feet on the ground over here in the American League. And it's not just the new league and stuff. And Valbuena lofts a fly ball that's playable in right. Hamilton settles under it. 1 gone. You know, it's not just the idea of learning the new hitters and things like that. That can come fairly quickly, but not being able to hit. I think the way that Yovani was talking to John Radigan about it, and not facing the opposing pitcher as a hitter. That it may not seem like a whole lot, but that's a big change. It changes the whole way you think about setting up a lineup to face them. You know, and just that one extra guy at the bottom of the order, you all of a sudden you're not pitching around a 7th or 8th hitter to get to the pitcher. You're not doing certain things the way you've always done them, and that's a big change. And I think Yovani kind of struggled with that initially, but now that he's gotten himself in the mindset of an American League pitcher, he's showing you the way he can pitch, and he's been really effective. John Singleton, a 188 average. Had a couple of hits last night. He's gone 3 for 7 in the series. Fouls that back and out of play. Singleton, if you remember, had to come in Friday night after Chris Carter hurt himself at first base, reaching up for a throw. Came down and sprained his right ankle. And it's going to be apparently a couple of more days before Chris Carter can begin to run. He avoided time on the disabled list, but Astros with John Singleton on hand just put him into the lineup, let him play first base. 1 ball and 2 strikes. There's Chris Carter hanging around that top rail up there. Gallardo ready, the 1-2 pitch coming. That will even the count. Singleton, you remember last year, signed that multi-year contract before he had ever stepped foot on the big league diamond. And Astros tied him up long-term, 5-year I think it was, or 3-year with a bunch of options. Take him through arbitration years and into free agency even. That's outside. 3-2, and not very often that players at 20, 21, 22 years of age get the opportunity to get any kind of security at the big league level. And you know, John Singleton said, fine, I'll take that. That's right up my alley.
Yeah, well, especially you get that security and you haven't played in the big leagues yet. Exactly. That's a little different.
That backdoor slider or cut fastball just missed. Singleton eyeballing it for the walk. 2 on with 1 out. Jake Maristic coming up.
Wow, that was right there. Very close. Fox Trackers got it as a strike.
Will Little, the home plate umpire, didn't.
I guess that's the one that counts.
Yeah, at least this year. No telling what will happen in the future.
Umpires will be gone, and it'll go to cameras.
That's a little scary.
Very. Then who can you argue with?
Yeah, exactly.
I like the arguing part. Love that.
Hard to argue with Mr. Samsung or Mr. Panasonic.
Well, you can have an argument. It could be a quick argument. Let a bat do the talking.
Yeah, and then you get suspended.
I know. That's just, well, probably going to get suspended anyway. But there's just there's nothing coming back. No arguing, going back and forth with, cameras.
That's
so
right.
It's kind of empty. A hollow victory.
1 ball and no strikes to Marisnik, who's hitting .239. And that pitch is low. 2 balls and no strikes. All of a sudden, Yovani Gallardo having a little trouble locating his fastball. Not missing by much, but just enough to get him behind in the count. Marisnik, 5 home runs, 21 driven in. He's back into the lineup after missing a couple of weeks with a hamstring strain. George Springer, the other fine young outfielder for the Astros, on the disabled list. He has a fractured wrist, and it looks like he'll be out another 5, maybe 6 weeks. Talked to George Springer, he said, no, I'm not going to be that long. It'll be a lot less than that, which is a pretty typical player reaction.
It's very typical. I'm surprised he didn't say he'd be back next week.
Well, yeah, if it was him to make the decision, he would be.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great young player. Love his attitude. Loves to play the game. You can see it in his intensity and enthusiasm out there on the field. And him not being in this Astros lineup has been a big blow to them.
Marisnik, it's a towering pop foul, twisting toward the seats. Hamilton over, but it's back 5 rows. And the count is now full. Here's George Springer. And he wasn't traveling with the club, and apparently he's so highly thought of that he was asked to travel along with the ball club when we went on the road. They just needed his presence in the dugout in the clubhouse.
Right, and that's a great sign. It tells you he's a team guy.
Yep.
There are already players that look up to him in his young career, and he's just that presence in a clubhouse or on the field anywhere.
Fouled away. We'll reset and try it again on 3-2. Yovani Gallardo now forced to work in this inning. His next pitch will be his 22nd of this frame. Got runners at first and second with just 1 out. Slowly hit to third. Beltre is going to take the only out that's available to him right there. Gaddis stops, and cat and mouse game, and the tag is applied. Nothing else Adrian could do. I could have walked over and stepped on third, but as far as going to second for a potential double play, no chance.
Not with the way Marisnik can get down that line. Soft chopper to Beltre, and really it's his only play. Stand right there. Gaddis coming to him. You've got Singleton, who was at first not being held on because there was a runner at second base, so he's got a bigger lead. No play at second, and definitely no play at first.
Well, there are 2 outs now with runners at first and second. Jason Castro, the catcher, batting at .210, will come up. In a little animated discussion with Elvis Andrews. That's a shocker.
Yeah, aren't they all?
Yeah. Castro, 7 home runs, 19 driven in. Ball 1. Saw Castro here on Friday night. Went 0 for 2 in the first game of this series. Gallardo back to the plate. And he jammed it. Elvis will step on second ahead of the sliding Jake Marisnik, and that'll do it. Astros, no runs, a hit, a walker, and 2 men are left. On to the third we go. No score at Minute Maid.
This is the best seat. You're thinking, right there, air conditioning. Seat in this stadium. Are you kidding me? It's nice and cool up here. Awesome. Buzz, Matt, back to you guys.
Brad, I'm waiting for you to get to be the conductor.
Yeah, I'm working on that for you, Mac. I'm working on that. I didn't bring my overalls.
He's probably got an extra pair up there for you.
He may.
Hey, I'll settle for just for the hat. Just put the hat on and I'll be good.
You know, he does the chicken dance every fifth thing. I just got to avoid that.
There you go.
Thank you, brother.
Now Dallas Keuchel back to work here in the top of the third. Robinson Chirinos leading off for the Rangers, down on the count now. No balls, 2 strikes. Chirinos his 9th home run of the year in last night's game, hitting .216. Here's one of those examples we were talking about changing the rhythm and timing of Dallas Keuchel. Chirinos kind of got him start the motion and got timeout called.
You know, those are some of the things you have to do with a guy that works quickly. You don't want to let that pitcher get into his rhythm because that's what every pitcher wants to do. They want to be in that rhythm. They're getting the ball, getting the sign, and they're going. So you've got to take a little longer getting in the box, and occasionally you may want to call timeout and step out just to rattle him, upset him, try and take him out of his game somehow.
He's fouled off the end of the bat, that changeup. Even though it stayed up, it's still a pretty tough pitch to time.
It is. Now, you have to be careful, too, on the pitchers that you do that to because some of them may drill you. But, hey, if that gets him out of his game, hey, you've got to take it. You've got to do whatever it takes to win, obviously within the rules.
Another 0-2 pitch. Yeah, you wouldn't mind stepping out against Mark Burley or Keuchel, guys that work fast and don't throw all that hard.
No,
that's one thing.
And I really think those guys expect it.
Sure.
Because they're guys, they know they work quickly and they're trying to catch a guy off guard. They really are. And there's nothing wrong with that. So as a hitter, there is a way to combat that.
And Chirinos down on strikes. Keuchel now has struck out 3 of the last 4 and 4 of the last 6. One gone. Going back to the top of the order for Delino DeShields. But first of all, let's send it back to Rick Renner for a Mazda game break. All right, Rick, thank you. Looks like Felix Hernandez back to his old self after having a little bit of a problem for a few starts. Delino DeShields eyeballs a changeup that floats outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. DeShields out on a fine play by Altuve in the first inning. A ground ball off of Keuchel's glove and ricocheted right behind the mound, about halfway between the mound and second base, and Altuve did a great job of charging and throwing all in one motion after he picked it up. Keuchel's got that cutter working into the right-handers.
He really does. You know, if you look at what speed does for you, the alignment that the Astros are in. Altuve was in. You had Singleton off the line and in. You had Valbuena in at third base, and you had Correa in a few steps from the cut of the grass. So speed changes that defense and how they play you. You got Colby Rasmussen right. He's over towards the line and shallow. But especially how the infield is lined up. That creates a lot of havoc and puts a lot of pressure on those infielders when a guy's at the plate that can really get down that line.
Keuchel's 3-2 pitch to DeShields. Call strike 3. Well, Will Little took a minute to think about it. Delino DeShields figured, I must be going to first base. And Will Little said, you're going back to the dugout.
Wow. You got the Fox tracker, getting that as a strike. Called one just like that on DeShields in his first at bat, first pitch of the ball game, as a matter of fact. Singleton got one that Will Little called a ball. And I think the thing, for hitters and pitchers as well, that gets them upset is when the umpire isn't consistent with it. If you're going to call that a strike and you establish it early, then it's going to be a strike all day long. Yeah. That's fine. But it can't be a strike one pitch and then another at bat. It's a ball.
No, I agree with you. That's the one thing that you can argue strike zones all day long, but as long as they're consistent, then you have the ability to adjust to it. When they're not consistent, you don't know what's what.
Right. You don't know what to swing at. You don't know what to throw. So the consistency is what every player looks for.
1-1. Odor backing out of the way of that breaking ball, and it came back to the inside corner. 1-2 to Rougned, who grounded out his first time up. Keuchel all of a sudden on a pretty good roll. He has struck out 4 of the last 5, and Odor drive to right. Good jump by Rasmus, able to track it down, going toward the corner. 3 up, 3 down for the Rangers. Now 6 straight sent down by Dallas Keuchel. After 2.5, we are scoreless in Houston. brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer to kick off the summer right. Ford is the best in Texas. Now, bottom of the third inning, and it's the top of the Astro order to face Giovanni Gallardo. Altuve ducking down. That makes his strike zone about 6 inches high when he does that. 1 ball, no strikes. Altuve, a ground ball to short. His first time. Left center, right center field. In a hurry, Ranaudo Shields able to get there in time as that ball hung up a little bit. That is out number 1. The Shields patrolling center field very effectively. Now Preston Tucker coming up. Tucker grounded out to Rougned Odor in the first inning. Check swing foul tip off the glove and back to the screen. 0-1. Tucker now in an 0 for 9 streak. He's been a .333 hitter over his last 9 games, but that's getting down now, and he shoots one just inside the chalk down in the right field corner. And a fan reaches out and grabs it. That's going to be a double for Preston Tucker.
Gallardo goes a breaking ball a little higher in the zone, got it inside a little bit, but Tucker's a full hitter. Just kept that one fair.
No, Tucker in scoring position now with 1 out. Carlos Correa, who drew a walk in the first, will step in. Correa 2 for 4 with his 8th home run of the year last night. He takes inside for ball 1. All kinds of notes in the Astros game notes about Carlos Correa and his place in history with the home runs. And this is his 35th game as a major leaguer. According to the Astros, since 1914, the 8 home runs that he hit in his first 34 games were the most ever by a shortstop in that number of games to start a career.
That's pretty impressive when you think about the Hall of Fame shortstops that have come through here.
You are right. You start talking about most ever or best ever or whatever. That's pretty impressive.
And you start going back 100 years. Yeah.
This young man, we have to keep reminding ourselves, just 20 years of age.
And he's only been here for 35 games.
Yep.
I think that's the biggest thing. You know, what I've seen from him is he just looks very comfortable. Doesn't look like he's been here for 35 games. It looks like he's been here for a lot longer. Honestly, you know, and that's, you'd like to see that. He's definitely not overmatched. There might be some pitchers that are overmatched against him.
There have been. Takes a fastball right down the middle. 3 balls and a strike now. Giovanni Gallardo trying to work around the 1-out double by Preston Tucker. The 3-1 coming to Correa. Left center field, falling in a hurry, a dive, and can't come up with it. Around third, in to score is Tucker. Into second with an RBI double, Carlos Correa. And the Astros take a 1-0 lead. Looked like Delino, his jump would indicate that he thought that was going to be a deeper ball than it was.
Yeah, he wasn't sure. And right off the bat, he kind of took a couple of steps just to read it. But either way, I don't think he would have had a play on it either way, whether it's a good jump or not. He just wouldn't have been able to get there. That's just a hit. And I think he, in this instance, kind of played this one into a double. That one, you just got to sit back and catch it on the hop, and go from there.
Now and again, Delano Shields just getting his feet wet as far as an outfielder at the big league level.
Yeah, it's still a transition for him.
Yeah.
Converted second baseman. You know, a lot of those angles, a lot of those balls, when to dive, when not to dive, where to dive. You know, this is a big ballpark from right center to left center, so it's not always a good thing to dive not knowing if you're going to catch the ball or not, or at least be able to keep it in front of you. Because if the ball rolls all the way to that hill out there, being inside the Parker, so knowing where you are, what the situation of the game is, dictates all of that for you.
Well, Correa now at second base in scoring position after the RBI double. Colby Rasmus ahead of the count, 2 balls, no strikes. Rasmus lined sharply to Adam Rosales, and he hits a towering fly ball to right. The ballpark will not hold that one. It is gone. Colby Rasmus with his 12th home run of the year, and the Astros are on top 3-0.
Rasmus still has that power. And when he gets a pitch that he can handle, fastball out over the middle of the plate, down in the zone. That happy spot for that left-hand hitter. He didn't miss that one.
Yeah, he is a prototypical left-handed hitter, too. Now Gaddis shooting one up the middle for his second straight base hit. Well, 4 consecutive hits now, 2 doubles, a home run, and a single. And Mike Maddox is going to head out to the mound and slow things down. Josh Hamilton, for a second there, thought he might be able to. No, he can't. I'm going to take a look. Heck with it.
Needs another 30 feet or so.
I'm going to say about Rasmus, though, I mean, he is as much a low ball hitter as anybody you're going to see. Anything above his belt, he has a hard time with. If you get it down there, he's not going to miss many of those.
No, he's not. We've seen it over the series. They've kept the ball away from that zone, and he hasn't done much damage.
Well, we have a second, folks. We'd like to remind the fans attending the game on Friday, August 14th. The Tampa Bay Rays are in town. We'll enjoy a special post-game fireworks show set to Star Wars music. Plus, there will be special appearances by the Star Wars characters on the concourse. Visit TexasRangers.com/specials and use the coupon code FIREWORKS for $14 upper reserve tickets. Now 1 on, still just 1 out. Luis Valbuena takes outside for ball 1. Mike Maddox going out to the mound to order up that double play ball. He's very good at that. Valbuena, a fly ball to right, his first time up there. And that pitch low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Valbuena, a 197 average. 19 home runs, that's tops on the Astro Ball Club. With just 36 RBI. There's a strike, 2-1. Well, this inning has seen Giovanni Gallardo's road scoreless streak come to an end. 24 in a third innings. That's what it will go down as officially. He's a rope to right field. That's a fair ball and into the corner. Hamilton playing the carom, being stopped at third. Gaddis into second with the third double of the inning. Luis Valbuena. Runners at second and third for John Singleton.
Gallardo left another one up in the zone. Fortunately, Valbuena, who's got 19 home runs on the year, wasn't able to get under that one enough. But he did drill it down the right field line for a double. Yeah, we can see the intensity, and last night had a little bit of effect on everybody, I think. A lot of intensity from both teams. Valbuena, and I'll give that a 7.5 on the flip.
You don't very often see guys flipping bats on doubles.
No, you don't. I don't get it.
Well, now the Rangers pulling the infield all the way in. John Singleton up there takes strike one. Runners at second and third. Singleton drew a walk his first time up. So 5 consecutive hits in this inning. 3 doubles, a home run, and a single. Astros have jumped out on top 3-0. Nice stop by Chirinos on the big overhand curveball. 1-1. Two and one, the count to Singleton. Gallardo working from the stretch. Going inside, 3 balls and a strike. Giovanni having to use a lot of pitches in this inning, and he is struggling right now with command. And you see that happen so often, that the more pitches you have to throw in one inning, the more chance there is for lack of command, a lot of mistakes. More mistakes, the more pitches you throw. And it's been 45 pitches the last 2 innings. The left field, Rua coming in a hurry and makes the catch. Gaddis couldn't get back to tag up quickly enough. Didn't make that decision fast enough. And Rua, as a result, able to get the ball back into the cutoff man and prevent Gaddis from trying to score. 2 out.
Gaddis knows that he made a mistake there. We'll take it. Singleton got a fastball on the outside part of the plate, up in the zone. Gallardo's been up in the zone this entire inning. Drills it to left. And Rua's right there, makes a nice play, gets it back into the infield.
I think from where Rua is, I kind of wish Gaddis had tried to tag up and score.
Yeah, that would have been a close play.
Yeah, the first pitch to Jake Marisnik, low and outside for ball 1. Marisnik reached on a fielder's choice his first time up. That's low and inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Marisnik, 5 home runs, 21 driven in. Up there hitting with Gaddis at third, Valbuena at second. Runners in scoring position. Jake about 50 points higher than his overall average. 3-0. Gallardo falling well behind Marisnik. Marisnik is able to reach to load the bases. Jason Castro is in the on-deck circle. Jeff Bannister standing with arms folded, not really thrilled with what he's seeing out there. Marisnik had the green light 3-0 and fouled it off. Now it's 3-1. Anthony Bass loosening in that Ranger bullpen.
See that very often. You got the 8-hole hitter with the green light, 3-0 green light.
Yeah. I think the element of surprise would have taken everybody that time.
Fortunately, it didn't take Gallardo.
Yeah.
By surprise.
Gallardo ready for the 3-1 pitch. His 27th pitch of the inning. There was a fastball right on by Marisnik.
You know, I guess as a pitcher, you can never really think that, hey, this guy's not going to swing at it. She'll take this.
Yeah, especially when you're on the ropes a little bit, the way Gallardo is. I mean, that's when a lot of managers want to go for the throat. Just turn their guys loose and say, go ahead. We got him right where he wanted him. You got a good pitch to hit. Go ahead and hack it. Off the fist, and Beltre comes up cleanly with it and fires the first. That'll do it. But Astros put 3 on the board to get 3 runs on 5 hits and strand 2. After 3, Houston 3, Rangers nothing. to get access to rarely available lower infield and premium infield tickets to select Yankees and Giants game in the upcoming homestand. Go to TexasRangers.com/treasure chest. Well, Rangers have some work to do with the bats as Prince Fielder starts things off here in the 4th inning. 3-0 Houston. Fielder takes inside from Dallas Keuchel for ball 1. Prince shot a double into the left field corner his first time up. Well, Fielder now back up to an even 340. 1 ball and 1 strike. Seems like every time Fielder gets down to 338, 339, somewhere in there, he gets a hit or two and just right back up to 340, 342, 345. Just lives in that. That's a nice address to live at.
I know nothing about it, but I would assume so, yes.
Well, I obviously don't either, but just from an outsider looking in, it looks to be a pretty nice neighborhood.
Boy, was I on the outside. Down the street and around the corner.
Not many folks live in that block. Prince is one of them, though. Miguel Cabrera and very few others. They're the hit leaders in the American League. 3 more for Fielder than Jason Kipnis. Now full count.
You know, in order to be able to do that, that's got to be a good feeling coming to the ballpark, knowing that you're going to get at least 1, more than likely 2. You know, a lot of guys that I've seen over the years, they come to the ballpark thinking, hey, I'm going to get to, you know, the good hitters.
Keuchel racking up his 6th strikeout.
One of the best hitters that I've gotten to see and actually play with, he came to the ballpark thinking he was going to get 4.
Edgar?
Ichiro. He came to the ballpark thinking, I'm going to get 4 hits today. Not 1 or 2, but 4.
Wow.
And that's exactly what I said. Wow. How do you do that? I'm wanting 1. Maybe get to throw a walk in there, maybe. You know.
Maybe 2 in the series. That's living on a different planet.
That was definitely that.
Beltre chopping that pitch foul. That got a pretty good chunk of his left leg. 0-2 the count. You know, it's amazing. You mentioned that story about Ichiro, and it seems like every great hitter, not just good, but great hitter, there are stories like that about him. You know, I know there are stories about Ted Williams, about how fine-tuned he was about things.
Seeing the laces on the baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
There were laces on the baseball? Really?
I have to put my glasses on to see those things up close. 1-2 to Adrian. But it seems like they really are a breed apart. Great hitters, great athletes of all kinds. But
yeah, they definitely see things that good players or mediocre players definitely don't see. That's why they're great.
Yep. Another foul tip. Still 1-2. And they expect different things, too, which maybe amazes me more than anything. Is they're, like you said, with Ichiro, expecting 4 hits.
Right.
You know, they expect things that other people look at and say, "You're kidding." You can't be serious about that. Yeah,
that just doesn't happen. No. Yeah. It's just incredible sitting down having conversations with these guys, and I tell some of them, now you need to translate that into English for me, baseball terms, please.
Beltre back in there. Keuchel right up on top of the pitching rubber. As the sign he wants, the 1-2. And will even things up. Beltre down swinging the first time that he faced Keuchel here this afternoon. Keuchel now with 6 strikeouts. He has gone through a streak where he has struck out 5 of the last 7 hitters he's faced. Valbuena, the third baseman, throws out his counterpart, and they're 2 gone. Next will be Josh Hamilton. Hamilton has one of the 2 Ranger hits today off of Keuchel. That was a leadoff single to center field in the second. And Josh never got any further than first base on that in that inning. Rangers stranded him right there. Boy, that sinking fastball, the tailing sinking fastball from Keuchel. He throws it the same place no matter whether you're a right-handed hitter or a left-handed hitter. That's on the first base side of home plate, moving into a left-hander and down, or away from a right-hander and down. Right down there.
You know, the tough thing about it is it moves late. That late movement. So as a hitter, you've already committed to the swing. The next thing you know, you don't feel a thing because you missed it.
No vibration, no nothing.
None.
Same place in there. Got that one up a little bit, but the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Hamilton holding the back of his left shoulder a little bit. His trapezius muscle might have tightened up on him. That's what he gets for having all those muscles. They tighten up on you. Got him swinging. That breaking ball down and away. Boy, that's classic pitching. 3 sinkers down and in, and the breaking ball away for the strikeout. 3 up, 3 down. Keuchel now has retired the last 9 that he's faced. 3.5 in the books. 3-0 Astros. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Bottom of the 4th inning, it'll be the bottom of the Astros lineup. Jason Castro, the number 9 hitter, to start things off against Yovani Gallardo. 0-1 on the swing. Castro ran it into a fielder's choice back in the 2nd inning. Astros sent 8 men to the plate in the 3rd, 3 of them scoring. And Yovani trying to bounce back and put up a 0 on the scoreboard. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jason Castro now 0 for his last 5. Been up and down average-wise, but he's provided the power that the Astros have come to expect from him. 7 home runs this year. That's 7th among American League catchers. And all time in Astros franchise history, he's 2nd with 44 home runs. The fastball in for a strike, 2-2. Gallardo to the wind and just misses down and away. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Boy, Giovanni has tried numerous times to hit that low outside corner and hasn't missed by much, but he hasn't gotten the calls down there either. And any of them have been in that general area. Payoff pitch, call, strike 3. Got one there. Will Little, the home plate umpire, ringing up Jason Castro for the first out.
A nice pitch by Gallardo. Tried to hit it on the 2-2 pitch. Didn't get the call, but he got it on that one. It's a little bit closer, a little bit higher, and a little bit more of the plate.
Well, for Gallardo, his first strikeout of the afternoon. Back to the top of the order, Jose Altuve is 0 for 2. He is grounded out and flied out. Strike 1. Altuve, the starting second baseman on this year's American League All-Star team. To right field, Hamilton jogging toward the line a bit. 2 gone. Next will be Preston Tucker.
Gallardo's done a really good job with Altuve so far tonight. A couple of fly balls and a ground ball to lead off the game.
You know, this year the Rangers have had pretty good success keeping Altuve quiet. Tucker takes strike 1. Altuve this year against the Rangers coming into play today hitting only .242, which is monumental. Normally you'd add about 200 points to that against the Rangers. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tucker doubled to start things with 1 out in the 3rd. This was the first of 5 successive hits against Gallardo. Nubs that one foul, and the count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Astros 3 runs on 6 hits. Rangers no runs on 2 hits. Dallas Keuchel keeping the Ranger offense pretty well bottled up so far. Gallardo nods in agreement, and the 1-2 pitch. That double that Tucker had last inning snapped an 0 for 9 that he was in. High in the air, twisting out of play down the left side. We'll come back and try the 2-2 pitch again. Well, the Rangers moving on from here to Denver to take on the Rockies the next 3 days, Monday, Tuesday nights, and Wednesday afternoon. It was announced today that Nick Martinez will get the start for Jeff Manister's club tomorrow. Nick will be recalled, and Rangers will make a corresponding roster move prior to the game tomorrow. This one popped into shallow left field, coming on Ryan Rua. And that's a nice bounce back inning for Giovanni Gallardo. 3 up and 3 down. We finished 4 in Houston. It's the Astros 3 and the Rangers nothing.
were some fireworks, indoor fireworks in the 9th inning, and it's the kind of thing that can galvanize a team, although Adrian Beltre was saying before the game today he feels the team was already galvanized.
We have no doubt that we are family. We're tight, not just because what happened yesterday, but the whole year. Even though we go through highs and lows, but I think as a team we're pretty tight, and we have everybody's back here.
No doubt about that. No matter what happens in this game, last night's game could be one of those that reminds everybody just how much they have each other's backs, guys.
Thank you, John. Yeah, that's a very good point, and Adrian, I think, pointing that out very nicely. It is very much like a family. Ryan Rua leading things off and taking the first 2 pitches out of the strike zone. 2 balls and no strikes. Rua a strikeout the first time that he faced Keuchel this afternoon. Left-hander back to the plate. And Correa takes the second hop, fires to first for out number 1. So it has been pretty much a strikeout or ground ball this afternoon. Just 1 out in the air. And that was a line drive by Ranaudo in the 3rd inning to right field. Other than that, 7 strikeouts and 4 groundouts, 5 groundouts. Elvis Andrus a strikeout his first time. Elvis a 245 average. And there's that changeup that floats in from Keuchel. Well, that's a pitch that Keuchel will throw to anybody in any count. He has such confidence in it, such command of it. And about an extra 10 or 11 miles an hour on that fastball, and that thing's got to look like it's 20 miles an hour quicker.
Yeah, it does. He's been tremendous with that pitch. And I think that, for the Rangers, this is about the time where you really need to start changing some things up, taking a little bit longer in the box. If you foul a ball off, take a little bit longer out of the box. You just got to do something different because he looks like he's in that groove, in that rhythm, and you've got to do whatever you can to break it up.
He's retired 10 straight hitters. Josh Hamilton's leadoff single in the 2nd, the last base runner the Rangers had. Little nubber out in front of the plate. Keuchel will make the play to first. Elvis retired for the 2nd out. And not only is he a quality pitcher, he's pretty good fielding the baseball too. He bounces around.
Looked pretty good. Looked like a left-handed shortstop right there. And it wouldn't surprise me if he played shortstop when he was a kid.
Yeah.
That's just no panic. Nice and smooth. Pick it up, step and throw. Throws a strike.
So 2 balls on the ground and 2 outs here in the 5th inning. Adam Rosales, who tapped back to Keuchel his first time up, will step in. Fastball is a bit low. Rosales 4 for his last 20, and it's in 10 ball games. We hadn't seen him very much in the last couple of weeks. Go back over the longer streak. His last 14 starts, he has been a .306 hitter on 15 for 49. Today is 28th start of the year and his 8th at first base. 2-0 pitch. Now 2-1. Keuchel with an even 70 pitches this afternoon. Good running fastball, running away from the right-handed hitter. Keuchel to the wind, the 2-2. Got him swinging. 8 strikeouts for Keuchel. And he has retired 12 straight Rangers. We played half the ball game here at Minute Maid Park. It's the Astros 3 and the Rangers nothing. 2015 prorated full season plans at Globe Life Park. Full season plan offers the best prices and the best benefits. Just visit TexasRangers.com/seasons to learn more. Well, bottom of the 5th inning, it'll be the middle of the Astro order to face Giovanni Gallardo, Carlos Correa, Colby Rasmus, and Evan Gattis. 1 ball, no strikes. Correa, 1 for 1 today, a walk and an RBI double. He has also scored a run. His batting average now at .287. 1 ball, 1 strike. Correa now with that double has extended his hitting streak to 5 straight ball games. And some around the Astros were a little concerned that this young man had kind of hit the proverbial wall a bit, but looks like he's run through it or climbed over it.
He's done something, and he's made that adjustment, and that's what you've got to be able to do at this level, make the adjustments.
If you're a young player like Correa, there's another base hit for him. Would you try and pick the brains of the older players around you to see how you make those adjustments?
Oh, there's no question. You have to be able to do that. You've got to get that information, that knowledge from the guys that have been there, been through it, done it. And that's just so valuable to have those guys around, whether you're asking questions or just watching how they go about their business on a daily basis. That's just so valuable to have that on a ball club.
And part of the problem the Astros had last year and the year before is they didn't have a lot of those veteran players around to offer that advice.
Yeah, that makes it difficult. I mean, you've got your coaching staff who's obviously been around, but it's easier for it to come from a player that's going out there and doing it every day. And when you don't have those around, everybody else is pretty much learning on the fly.
And A.J. Hinch learning about being a big league manager on the fly, too. This is his first foray into the managing world at the big league level. Colby Rasmus, he had that 2-run home run. Big blow of the 3rd inning. Takes outside for ball 1. But you look up and down the lineup, or in the players that the Astros have, like Rasmus, guys that have had a little experience, maybe not the salty veteran type of player that's been around for 10 or 15 years, but some guys that have been to the big leagues have made adjustments like that, can help the younger players maybe transition a little more smoothly.
Right. Anybody that's been here 4 or 5 years, they've made some adjustments, believe me, because if they haven't, they wouldn't be here. So anybody that's been around 4 or 5 years, they have some knowledge that they can pass on to the younger guys that are just getting to the big leagues.
Talking to Brent Strom, the pitching coach for the Astros, so that's one of the reasons that the Astros decided to add Scott Feldman before last year to the pitching staff. They felt that Feldman's work ethic and his experience and the kind of guy that he is would fit in very nicely with a younger pitching staff. I think that's probably proven to be the case.
Yeah, it really has. Feldy's great at it. He's been around, been in the big leagues for an awfully long time. Former 17-game winner, so he's been on both ends of it, where he didn't pitch well, didn't win a lot of games, to winning 17 games. So he's got a lot of information that he can definitely offer a young pitching staff.
And that pitch high to Rasmus, the count goes to 3-0. And I would think, too, having worked extensively as both a starter and reliever, he'd be able to reach more guys than somebody who was just one or the other.
Right, and that's just so valuable to a ball club to have guys that have that knowledge that they can, and not just have it, but that are more than willing to pass on to younger guys, because there are some veteran players out there that don't like to share information.
Yeah. And at the same time, there's some younger players out there that don't want to ask for the information too,
or don't want to receive it when it's been given.
Yeah, okay.
I'll go with that one better.
That's put a better way. 3-1 pitch. Now 3-2. Ranaudo trying to work all the way back. He was behind in the count, 3 balls and no strikes after the leadoff single to Correa. Rasmus hitting fourth will be followed by the DH for the Astros, Evan Gattis. Gallardo okays the sign. Correa the lead from first. Very well be a running situation if Correa can get the jump. Nobody out. 3-2 count. He's staying put. The pitch fouled straight back. Our Fox tracker showing you Giovanni Gallardo kind of a scattergun approach too to dealing with Colby Rasmus. Well, most of them have been up, trying to get that pitch up to him. Another 3-2 on the way. Correa on the move that time, and the pitch fouled back. Well, Correa will retrace his steps. Rasmus will take his time getting back to the box. Correa does have 5 stolen bases in his 34-game big league career. Correa being held on by Adam Rosales at first. Gallardo sets once again. Correa on the move. The pitch outside, ball 4. Rasmus coaxes the walk, and the Astros have their first 2-men aboard here in the 5th inning with Evan Gattis coming up. And it looks like that's going to be it for Giovanni Gallardo. 93 pitches in, and I think Jeff Madison's thinking right about now he really can't afford to get the Astros any further ahead. And Giovanni Gallardo just hasn't been able to get things consistently working in his favor. So the call to the bullpen, Gallardo will be finished after 4 innings plus 2 hitters here in the 5th. Well, pitching change underway at Minute Maid Park in Houston with the Astros leading the Rangers 3-0. We'll take a timeout. We're back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Of the Big 12 College Football Media Days. That's live from Dallas. Starts tomorrow, and it continues on Tuesday with coverage beginning at 9 a.m. each day. '25-year-old Anthony Ranaudo, the big, tall right-hander from New Jersey, on the hill now. Ranaudo making his 4th appearance, his 2nd relief appearance for the Rangers. 271 opponent's average, and Ranaudo last appeared some 11 days ago. I think that 2 weeks ago with the All-Star break. Just against the Angels, gave up a couple of runs in 4 innings of work against LA. on here to face Evan Gattis with 2 on and nobody out in the 5th inning. And Gattis takes a look at that big curveball from Ranaudo that bends in for strike 1. Gattis 2 for 2 today. A pair of singles. He has Carlos Correa at second, Colby Rasmus at first. Anthony Ranaudo, you remember, came over this past January from the Boston Red Sox in exchange for Robbie Ross Jr. Ranaudo, the Red Sox minor league pitcher of the year a couple of years ago. Out of LSU, pitched his college ball over in Baton Rouge. The 1-1 pitch is coming to Gattis. That big hook again, catches the inside corner. But Ranaudo was with the Red Sox organization. He was voted a couple of times of having the best curveball in the Red Sox organization. Matter of fact, in 2 of the leagues that he was in, he was honored for that ability. Now the 1-2. Correa going to third, and Gattis had to protect the plate with 2 strikes on it. Correa had third base stolen easily. And he'll have to head on back to second. And Elvis going to come in and mention something to Anthony Ranaudo. Ranaudo is a big, tall guy at 6'7", and his motion is not one that is easily altered to speed it up without going strictly to a slide step. Well, he has a hard time keeping guys close, and has not shown us that he will use that slide step very often.
Yeah, it's tough for a big guy like that to be able to get to the plate quickly. You got to lift your leg up longer. The only way you eliminate it, really, to give your catcher a chance is to do a slide step.
Gattis, another foul ball, straight back. Still 1-2. Ranaudo peering in for the signs from Robinson Chirinos. Big right-hander is set. Got him swinging. Foul tip into the glove of Robinson Chirinos for the strikeout. And Gattis checking with home plate umpire Will Little, and now A.J. Hinch coming out, and Little got some help from Phil Cuzzy, the first base umpire, who said, yeah, it was a foul tip that hit the dirt before it went into the glove. And Jeff Bannister checking with Steve Buechele down there. Boo, of course, in touch with Joey Pravinsky. See, there's no doubt the ball did hit the dirt, which makes it a dead ball at that point, going into the glove. We'll try the 1-2 again. Fans in Houston getting a little impatient with Anthony Ranaudo.
I think they're going to be impatient about anything the Rangers do today.
I think there's a little carryover from last night. They got fired up a little bit too in the 8th inning, 9th inning. Now Anthony ready again. Gattis taking a hack at that high breaking ball. That thing hung up there around eye level. Gattis trying to wail away at it. Giovanni Gallardo, 4+ innings of work, 7 hits, 3 runs on his ledger, but the 2 runners on base are his responsibility. Giovanni with 3 walks this afternoon, just 1 strikeout. Ranaudo trying to keep this a 3-0 game. Inside and hitting. Fastball got away from Ranaudo. Bored in onto Gaddis and plunked him, and that'll load the bases for Luis Valbuena.
Ranaudo trying to go inside, work Gaddis a little bit. Gaddis is, low to the plate in that batter's box, kind of slunched over, not necessarily a plate, but Ranaudo tried to back him up off the plate a little bit, went in with a fastball and got him in the forearm.
Well, the hit batter loads the bases. Valbuena is 1 for 2 today. He doubled into the right field corner his last time up. 1 ball, no strikes. Rangers play the middle of the infield, back at double play depth. Both Beltre and Rosales up at third and first. Ranaudo okays the sign. The fastball misses. It is 2 balls and no strikes. Now, the base on balls has been a problem at times for Anthony. The 2-0 pitch. It's out of play on the left side.
Now, Buzz, is that typical of a curveball pitcher?
Yeah, I think guys that have that big curveball as their primary breaking ball are going to throw naturally more pitches. They're also typically the ones that strike out the most guys, because that's a harder breaking ball to hit than a slider. But if you get guys that don't swing at it very often, it's hard to throw it for a called strike as much. Pitch out of play. Now you think about the big strikeout guys. Almost all of them threw a curveball. We had Ryan, Nolan, of course, threw a big curveball. Randy Johnson had a big sweeping breaking ball. He called it a slider, but I think most guys would say it was a curve. Two and two, the count to Valbuena. Up the middle, into center field, a base hit. 1 run is home. Rasmus is behind Correa. He scores. A 2-run single by Luis Valbuena. The Astros have a 5-0 lead. Valbuena now with 38 RBI. His second hit of the afternoon.
Ranaudo tried to backdoor that breaking ball, left it out over the plate a little bit more. Valbuena takes it right back up the middle.
Well, that closes the book on Giovanni Gallardo. All 5 runs on his ledger. 7 hits, 5 earned runs in 4 innings of work. And John Singleton takes strike 1. Well, not what Giovanni was hoping for here this afternoon. His mastery over the Houston Astros wouldn't carry him through this afternoon. Towering fly ball into shallow left center field. Wide to Shields. Plenty of time to amble over to make the grab. That is out number 1. Well, Jake Marisnick will be the next hitter. Before we tell you about him, let's send it back to Rick Renner for a Mazda game break. All right, Rick, thank you. Greinke putting it together. Man, he got that thing started. Either the start that he had against the Rangers or the one before. He had 7 shutouts.
Yeah, I think it might have been the one before. But think about it. Greinke's dealing.
Yeah.
Kershaw last night, 14 strikeouts.
Yeah, apparently he's back on track. That's probably not good news for the National League West.
That's not good news for anyone that's not on the Dodgers team.
Jake Marisnick 0 for 2, a couple of groundouts. That pitch a bit low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Astros 2 runs on 2 hits in the inning. They've also had a walk and a hit batter. Anthony Ranaudo searching for that ground ball at an infielder that he can get to with. Snap throw to first and just back under the tag, slapped down by Adam Rosales. Luis Valbuena almost caught him. Well-timed play by Rosales and Chirinos.
And Rosie had a long way to go from his position. Almost got him.
Rich Dower, the first base coach down there, you could probably hear him screaming as soon as he saw Rosales cutting in behind. Dower was yelling back, and Valbuena lost something in translation. Now the 2-1 pitch. 3 balls and a strike. And Marisnick again in a hitter's count. He's hitting 8th in the order. He'll be followed by the catcher, Jason Castro. And inside, ball 4. That reloads the bases. Mike Maddox can go out and chat with Anthony Ranaudo and Robinson Chirinos. We understand our crack research staff down in the, not crack, it's a crackpot. Our research staff down in the truck, headed by Kurt Deicher, informs us that Zach Greinke's scoreless streak did, in fact, start with the start against the Rangers out in Los Angeles. Were we talking about that today, or was that? No, they did the research today. Yeah. Just kidding, guys. They're really good. Just broke out in hives when I said that, but that's all right.
I can see.
Yeah. Now, base is full, and Jason Castro stepping in. Castro has struck out and grounded into a fielder's choice. A couple of grand slams to his credit in his career. And Anthony Ranaudo trying to make sure that he doesn't add one more. Castro, a .208 hitter. He does have 7 home runs, so we know that there is power to deal with there. Ball 2. Ranaudo last year had 7 appearances. They were all starts for the Red Sox. Went 4-3 with a .481 ERA. Big right-hander worked 39 1/3 innings for the Red Sox last year. Fouled back, and the count moves to 2-1. Astros scored 3 in the 3rd inning. He had 5 consecutive hits against Gallardo in that 3rd. Then in the 5th, started off relatively innocently with Correa's base hit. Then a walk to Colby Rasmus, and that was all for Gallardo. Ranaudo came in, hit Gaddis with a pitch to load the bases. Then Luis Valbuena, the 2-run single. John Singleton flied out. Jake Marisnick drew the walk. And Anthony Bass, who was up earlier, up and throwing in earnest now. 2-2 the count to Castro. And calls strike 3. Astros had a few words the last couple of times for Will Little, the home plate umpire. He's been called out both times, once in the fourth and once here in the fifth.
See this pitch down at the bottom of the zone. This is the pitch that's been going, either way. From Will Little behind the plate. And Castro's the catcher on the other side, so he knows, or has a good idea, probably better idea than most, what the strike zone is that Will Little's been calling.
Do you think that Castro would have gotten thrown out if he suggested Will Little use a different coin to make that call? That's not really bad, is it?
I like that one. I wish I would have thought of that when I played.
Change the coin, will you?
That was a good one, yeah. But yes, he would have been showering.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Well, 2 outs. And Jose Altuve, an 0 for 3 this afternoon. Up there now, bases still full. And a chopper foul makes the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Altuve hitting at .292 after his 0 for so far. Now 3 out of 11 in this series against the Rangers. Ranaudo staring in for the sign, picks 1 out. And drops the curveball in. Well, the way hitters are reacting to that, that must be the kind of curveball that you don't think as a hitter until you've seen it a few times. There's any way it could be a strike.
Yeah, you give up on it. Especially when you see it up in the zone. It's like, okay, there's no way it's going to break back down and be a strike. But it looks like it's been doing that.
Altuve almost walked right into that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gaddis at third, Valbuena at second, and Marisnik at first for Altuve. Ranger infield and outfield a step or so to the left. Renado's 2-2 pitch. Ranaudo forced to utilize 30 pitches since coming into the ball game in this inning. This will be his 31st of the frame. It's going to be on a 2-2 pitch to right field. That chases Hamilton back, but Josh has room in the corner and makes the catch. That will do it. Astros get a couple more on 2 hits. They leave the bases full. We finish 5 in Houston. The Astros 5, the Rangers nothing. inning brought to you by Sonic. Today's jackpot is worth $100 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Gene Lynch from Van, Texas will win $100. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam during the inning, Gene is going to win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Good luck, Gene, and the Rangers could use a little luck here against Dallas Keuchel. Luck and a lot of skill. They've had just 2 base hits through the first 5 innings and none since the second. Keuchel has retired a dozen straight Ranger hitters.
Looks like he's found his groove.
Yeah. First pitch to Robinson Chirinos is outside for ball 1. Yeah, and that's not a groove I wouldn't think as an opposing hitter you want to see him continue in very long.
No, you know, typically as a hitter, you don't want to see that pitcher get into a groove, especially one like this, ground balls or strikeouts. That's really what he's producing right now.
Now, Chirinos had one of the latter, the strikeouts, as he led off the 3rd inning. Robinson hitting at .215. And Keuchel just missed down and away. It's 2 balls and a strike. For Chirinos, this is his 61st start of the year. Rangers in his starts, 28 and 32 in the previous 60. This is 61st. Foul ball coming right back below us. Disadvantage is sitting in between you two guys, and I have nowhere to go. You can go to your right, and Bill goes to his left, and I'm stuck in the middle here.
Hey,
ball
Buzz,
coming right at me.
Buzz, I got you.
Yeah.
Especially if it comes right to me. I got you.
Okay.
You know, I used to be able to go left and
Yeah.
go right, but now it's just right here in the middle. Right at me, I got it.
Robinson Chirinos down on strikes for the second time this afternoon. Dallas Keuchel now with 9 strikeouts, and that is his career high against the Rangers. He had 8 earlier this year, and start in May, and he has 9 now. Back to the top of the order for the 3rd time now. Delino DeShields will face Keuchel. Delino a ground out and a strikeout.
In the 5 1/3 innings that he's gone out there, he's out of the 16 outs that he's got 9 of them strikeouts.
I think that qualifies as being in a groove, or whatever you said, on a roll, in a groove.
A good groove.
Still just 1 fly out. There's a moral victory. Got the ball in the air. Delino hitting the ball the other way. It's amazing you see a guy like Keuchel and you say, well, you know, again, he doesn't throw that hard, and his breaking ball is good, but it's not eye-popping. Why can't you hit him? Well, very rarely does he throw 2 pitches the same speed with the same movement in the same spot.
There you go. It's that location, and when he misses off the plate. He doesn't miss very often down the middle of the plate.
Now the 3-1. Except when he gets behind 3-0 or 3-1, then he firing it right down the middle at will. He has not walked a hitter today. He was behind in the count earlier in the ball game a few times, but none since. And there is called strike 3. Your little strike zone expanded just a bit, and Delino DeShields doesn't appreciate it. You remember Delino was called out in the 3rd inning and had a similar reaction, although this is a little bit slower walk back to the dugout than he had his first time up there.
Yeah, this is a tough one to take. Box tracker has it as a ball. It's a tough one to take with 2 strikes in the generous zone that Will Little's had all day long.
That's 10 strikeouts for Keuchel. And Odor swings through a sinking fastball. Third 10-plus strikeout game of the season for Dallas Keuchel. 12 has been his high water mark. That was against the Yankees in a June start, June the 25th against New York. He struck out a dozen. That was in a complete game effort. 1-1 to Ranaudo, who is grounded out and lined to right field. Now 1-2. Odor's the only one that's made an out in the air today. And he did hit that ball hard, but Rasmus able to track it down. That was for the last out in the third inning. Keuchel working from the third base side of that pitching rubber.
So far, he's the only one without a strikeout.
Equal opportunity pitching. Everybody gets a chance to strike out.
At least once.
Now the 2-2. Got him swinging. Keuchel strikes out the side in order. Rangers gone in the sixth. 1-2-3. After 5.5. 5-0 Astros. Today, USAA honors all of our service members at home and abroad. Fans will be treated to a Medical Center Arlington Adrian Beltre bobblehead. You can join us to see the Rangers take on the Rays and get your collectible bobblehead that day. Visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS for tickets. Well, talking about Adrian Beltre, we'll take a look at our Ford leaderboard. A milestone day for Adrian by playing this afternoon, and he ties Greg Nettles on the all-time list of games played at third base. They both have now 2,412. Still got a ways to go to catch the all-time leader Brooks Robinson, but that pretty classy company that Adrian has gotten himself into. And shooting one the other way, Preston Tucker has a leadoff single for the Astros here in the sixth inning.
That's an incredible amount of games, and to be second on any list all time is something special. So what that says is there's consistency there, longevity, and talent.
Yep. Throw in some gold gloves, some silver gloves, or silver slugger awards, some platinum awards for the best defensive player at any position. Adrian's going to have to remodel his house and get a bigger trophy room. A 1-on, nobody out. Carlos Correa has been aboard all 3 times that he's come to the plate this afternoon. He has walked, doubled, and singled. He has driven in a run. He has scored 2 runs. Young man now hitting at .292. It's popped foul back our way. The count is even at a ball and a strike. Correa, as we talked about, just 20 years of age. He's out of Puerto Rico. Ranaudo back to him. 1-2. He was the first overall draft pick back in the June 2012 draft. The Astros plucking him. Invited into spring training this year as a non-roster player. Prior to this year, he had not played any higher than high A ball. It's inside to him. 2-2 now. You mentioned yesterday or last night, Mac, I think that last year his year was cut short. He only played in 62 ball games by injury. I think the general feeling was he would have finished the year at Double-A had he been healthy. Pitch a little bit low, and the count is now full.
Yes, I think his progression was slowed down just a little bit by that. But looking at him, for these 3 days so far, I don't think anything really slowed him down. It was just a matter of time getting that experience for him, and he's big league ready. There's no question.
Ranaudo ready for the payoff pitch. We'll come back and try it again. Preston Tucker was on the move. He will retrace his steps, and we'll try it all over again. One on, nobody out. Bottom of the 6th inning, Astros on top, 5-0. Ranaudo a long set, and the pitch high and tight, ball 4. And there are 2 aboard for Colby Rasmus. Second walk allowed by Ranaudo. He's also hit a batter. Rasmus 1 for 2 officially this afternoon. And a 2-run home run in the 3rd inning. That's his 12th of the year. He was the last hitter that Yovani Gallardo faced this afternoon, and he walked in the 5th. He has scored twice. Also lined to 3rd, or to 1st, I should say. 0-1 on the foul ball. Bannister keeping an eye on things along with Mike Maddox. Not a pleasant sight for either one of them when they look up at that scoreboard right now.
No, they can't be feeling too comfortable being in this in the 6th inning. We're about to go to the 7th when they hit again against Keuchel, who really hasn't given up anything.
He's retired the last 15 that he's faced, and he's made it look fairly easy. That may be the hardest thing to overcome, is how good he feels about what he's doing. 1 ball and 1 strike. Anthony Ranaudo at 6 feet 7 inches tall. He goes about 250 pounds. Big sigh and to the plate. 2-2 now. Ranaudo gets a sign that he wants. A check of second. And Rasmus down swinging. Good fastball by Ranaudo for the strikeout. One gone. Evan Gattis coming up.
Great fastball by Ranaudo. Hits that outside corner. A little elevated in the zone, which is what you've got to do to get Rasmus out. Anything down low, he can pretty much get the barrel to it. But you elevate it a little bit, put it away from him. Got a tough time to do it.
Well, one out. Evan Gattis has been aboard all 3 times, and he has come up today. He was the first hitter that Ranaudo faced when he came into the ballgame. Anthony got ahead with a breaking ball just like that. Got to a 2-strike count. Got him to 2-2, I believe it was, and then plunked him with a fastball that ran in. Gattis with singles in his other 2 at-bats. Astros leader with 54 RBI this year. One ball and 1 strike. Gattis now 4 for 10 in this series against the Rangers. Ranaudo back to the plate and missed outside.
Trying to nail down that outside corner and just missing it just a little bit. It's a great spot, great location. If Gattis can reach it, there's not much he'd be able to do with it.
The Fox tracker giving an idea that not very far off the mark. And that breaking ball hanging up there. 3 balls and a strike. So Gattis hitting 5th in the order. Luis Valbuena, the 3rd baseman, will follow. Chirinos flashing the signs out. Gattis waiting. Three and 2.
Got it. Found that location there on that outside part of the plate with that fastball. Chances are he's going to do it again.
Well, the right-hander ready. Missed outside. That will load the bases for Valbuena. That's the 3rd walk issued by Ranaudo in his 1 1/3 innings of work. Mike Maddox out to have a chat with the tall right-hander. Valbuena, the next hitter, touched Ranaudo for a 2-run single in a similar situation last inning. He was up with the bases loaded and nobody out. That at bat. Now he's up there with the bases loaded and 1 out. So bases chock full of Astros. And time called. And Valbuena, like one of his backswings, hit Robinson Chirinos by accident. Now Ranaudo is ready, set to go to work to Valbuena. Pulled down the first baseline, a fair ball. 1 run is home. 2 runs are home. Valbuena stops at first. Another 2-run single for Luis Valbuena. The Astros lead it 7-0.
Valbuena being very aggressive, knowing that Ranaudo pretty much wants to get ahead.
Gets a pitch up in the zone, fastball up in the zone, out over the plate, and he goes to whacking at it. Pulls it down the first base line. 2 more RBIs on the day.
So 4 RBI today for Valbuena. He now has 40 for the season. Runners at first and third for John Singleton, who is 0 for 2. Singleton walked in the second, line to left in the third, and skied to center in the 5th inning. Ranaudo with the 1-0 pitch. In the air to center field. Gaddis is tagging at third. DeShields makes the catch. And there'll be no throw to the plate. Gaddis comes down the line to score. A sacrifice fly by John Singleton, and the Astros up their lead. It's now 8-0.
Singleton got the job done there, looking for a pitch. He can hit to the outfield. Stay out of the double play on the ground. Got one he can handle and drove it in the center.
So 2 gone now. Valbuena remaining at first. Here's Jake Marisnick, who has walked, grounded out twice. Marisnick, a .237 hitter. He pounds one to left field. Rua back. This is going to be playable. And about halfway back on the warning track, Rua makes the catch. That will do it. But the Astros put 3 on the board on a couple of hits and 2 walks. They strand 1 after 6. The Astros 8, the Rangers nothing. Scored game summary. A lot of Houston Astros. Carlos Correa got things started with an RBI double. That was in the 3rd inning for Correa. The big blast of that frame in the 3rd. The 2-run Colby Rasmus home run. And the Astros were off and running. They've added 5 more. And Dallas Keuchel, the beneficiary of that run support, leading 8-0 as he goes to work in the top of the 7th inning. Keuchel will face fielder Beltre and Hamilton. First 3 Ranger hitters here in the 7th inning. Keuchel has struck out 11, which is 1 shy of his career high. He established that for the last time this last June against the Yankees. Punched out 12. He has struck out 4 in a row, entering this at bat with Prince Fielder. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fielder has doubled and struck out. Prince's double came with 1 out in the 1st inning. The only other hit, Josh Hamilton had a leadoff single in the 2nd. And since then, 15 straight have gone down at the hands of Dallas Keuchel. 1-2 to Fielder. The left-hander back to the plate. Got him swinging. That ties his career high of a dozen strikeouts. And he has 5 in a row going.
Tried to get that ball up, elevated a little bit, but like it ran in on Prince. Ducked just underneath his bat.
Now Adrian Beltre, a strikeout and a ground out. That is a strike on the outer edge. Adrian asking Will Little, was that on the swing? And Will apparently said no, it was a call. Adrian agreed with our Fox tracker. But no, that wasn't. And Jake Marisnik out in center field has to retrieve a ball that got loose in the Astros bullpen. And he shows the bullpen guys, so here, take this, I'm going to throw it to a fan. Oh, 1 the count to Beltre. That cut fastball is about 24 inches to the right as you're looking at home plate.
What you call working inside and outside, working both sides of the plate. Well, actually, both sides of the batter's box.
Yeah. Nothing in 2. Green staying alive by chopping that pitch foul. Well, the Rangers put 7 on the board yesterday. That was the most runs they'd scored since that series in Baltimore the last couple of days of June. They've just had all kinds of trouble lately, and Keuchel's put them back into that mode of struggling again today. Rangers as a team hitting just .241 in the first 12 games of July. And I think it's safe to say that will not go up after today's game. 1-2 pitch. On the right side, Rasmus playing that way, runs out of room. Well, Adrian, who tied Greg Nettles by appearing at third base today, second most all time. A couple of years, you're looking at catching Brooks Robinson. Ball jerked foul by Beltre. It's still a ball and 2 strikes. Adrian, you remember, had his option year for next year picked up by the Rangers, so unless something unforeseen happens, Adrian assured of being a Ranger through the 2016 season. Beltre hooking one down the left field line, and it is foul. Well, he went out there and raked that one around and almost got it into the corner. Not a whole lot of foul territory down either line, as you can see. And particularly true down that left field corner. Gets pretty high pretty fast.
See Keuchel using that breaking ball to go down and in. Beltre went down there and got that one. Typically, guys don't make a whole lot of contact on that pitch there.
Adrian, anything but typical. That was the 100th pitch for Keuchel this afternoon. Number 101. He gets a new career high in strikeouts. That is a baker's dozen. 13 of them. Also, his 6th consecutive punch out. He sends all of us scurrying to the record books for the Astros records for most consecutive strikeouts. Now Josh Hamilton. First ball swinging, it's popped up, and it's in play. Castro, the catcher, makes the grab, and that'll do it. That snaps the string of consecutive strikeouts, but that's now 18 consecutive sent down by Keuchel in this ball game. We'll take the 7th inning stretch with the Astros leading 8-0. And please join the public address announcer as he introduces God Bless America.
Here at Minute Maid Park. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we kindly ask that you please rise as we take pause to honor and salute and thank those who protect our freedoms around the world each and every day. Please join Miss Monica Pasley for the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Live baseball. At bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, statcasts, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or your tablet. Now some defensive changes for the Rangers as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. We'll catch you up on those as we go along. Just tell you right up front, Josh Hamilton is out of the ball game. Mentioned earlier when he was kind of grabbing that trapezius muscle on his left, above his left shoulder. Looked like it was grabbing on him earlier in the ball game. Well, he's out for the last couple of innings. And Jason Castro starting things off against Anthony Ranaudo here in the 7th inning. Delino DeShields has moved from center over to left. Taking over in center field, Leonis Martin, and he will hit in Hamilton's spot in the order. And Ryan Rua moving from left over to right. Pitch hit out of play. Off to the left. There's Ryan. Well, 2 balls and 2 strikes to count to Jason Castro. Castro has had a tough day with Will Little at the plate when Castro has been hitting. And Castro, of course, catching, needs to cultivate that relationship he has with the umpire so that he gets the calls for his pitchers. But that's the 3rd straight time now that Castro has struck out. I guess he figured that he better swing at something because everything had been called strikes to him before. Well, 1 out, going back to the top of the Astro order. Before we do that, we'll send it back to Rick Renner for a Mazda game break. All right, Rick, thank you. Jose Altuve taking ball 1. Altuve has flied out 3 times and grounded to short. 0 for 4 in this game, and now hitting .291 for the year. That big curveball that hangs high. 2 balls, no strikes. Ranaudo on since the 5th inning. Replaced Yolani Gallardo with 2 on and nobody out in the 5th. And there's a rip down the 3rd baseline, a fair ball, and it's headed into the corner. The Shields playing the carom out, and into second with his first hit of the afternoon is Jose Altuve. Altuve with his 19th double of the season.
It's hard to keep Altuve off the base paths. This is just a good hitter. The Rangers have done a really good job of holding him down, not letting him cause much damage over this series. He gets a double here. And, you know, if that's all he's going to get, I'll take that. 1 for 5.
1 for 5, yeah. Yeah, I would too.
A double, nobody on.
Exactly. I would take 2 for 5 if he's going to do no damage other than that. Preston Tucker a couple of hits, and he slams one to left. Back at the wall is the Shields. It's gone. Tucker, first ball swinging, drives it out, his 6th home run of the year. And the Astros have hung a 10 spot on the Rangers.
Preston Tucker has shown that he can take the ball the other way out of the ballpark. Now trying to go with a fastball. Middle part of the plate, up in the zone.
So 10-0. Excuse me. Tucker lining that ball with authority the other way. Tucker home run number 6 for the year. He is 3 for 5 today. He has scored 3 runs. And he has driven in a couple more. Now has 23 RBI. Correa, a swing and a miss, a ball and 2 strikes. Correa has been on base 4 times today. 2 walks, a single, and a double. He has scored 3 runs and driven in 1. Two and 2 the count. Beltre across the diamond. 2 gone. Next will be Colby Rasmus. Anthony Ranaudo trying to find something positive to hang his hat on. It control really has gotten him into a bad spot today for Anthony, along with the 3 walks, a hit batter. Been pitching from behind to a lot of hitters, and it's pretty tough to do, especially against a team that can turn it on like the Astros do and hurt you with a long ball. Pitch just off the outer edge. Rasmus now a count of 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, you look at his pitch total already, 71 pitches in just 2 2/3 innings. That's a lot of pitches for just 2 innings.
1 and 2. Yeah, it really is, Mac. And I think it goes back. You haven't seen a lot of guys swing at the curveball after they've seen it one time. They may have a hack at it, see it one time though, then they understand what it looks like to them, and I think that's pretty easy pickings for a good hitter. Rasmus swinging over the top of that one. Ranaudo gets a strikeout. But the Astros put 2 more on the board on 2 hits, nobody left. We finished 7. It's the Astros 10 and the Rangers nothing. Versus Rewind this afternoon. We'll take a look at Dallas Keuchel. 13 strikeouts, a new career high for Keuchel. And boy, he was just carving up the Rangers. He retired the last 18 consecutive Ranger hitters that he faced here today. That is it for Keuchel. Out of the ball game after 7 innings of work. And Chad Qualls coming on, and could have brought in Cy Young. I think the Rangers would be relieved just to get Keuchel out of the ballgame.
Anybody but Keuchel right now is what they're thinking. Anybody. We'll take our chances with somebody else because we didn't fare very well against Keuchel.
No.
And, you've got to tip your hat to him. He threw a tremendous ballgame.
Yeah.
A lot of tough pitches, had the breaking ball working, spotting his location was there. Put that curveball wherever he wanted to, when he wanted to, work both sides of the plate, up, down, wherever he needed to. He made his pitches today.
No, the veteran Chad Qualls on now. And Brian Rua leading off the Ranger 8th inning takes outside for ball 1. Be Rua, Andrus, and Rosales. First 3 scheduled hitters. Ryan today has struck out and grounded out. Takes that in for a strike. It's 1-1. No walks, 13 strikeouts for Dallas Keuchel. Came in with an ERA of 2.23, and that's headed south at a pretty good clip right about now. One and 2 to Rua. Ryan hitting at 175. Falls back to him. Got him swinging. One gone for Elvis. Knocked walls last night, or 2/3 inning, got a couple of ground balls very quickly.
Rangers having a tough time making contact today.
14 strikeouts now as a team. Elvis 0 for 2. And then he tops that first pitch foul from Qualls. Qualls grew up in Southern California. Went to Harbor College down in the Wilmington area of Southern California. Went to the University of Nevada at Reno. Astros took him in the 2000 draft in June. Second round pick. Made his big league debut back in 2004 with Houston. No balls and 2 strikes to Elvis. Line to center, but Marisnik playing fairly shallow. Has an easy play, and that's out number 2. Now, while we have a moment here, we'll show you the upcoming schedule brought to you by Progressive. Rangers, after the ball game, flying out to Denver. They will take on the Rockies at Coors Field tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday afternoon. An off day on Thursday. It's on to Anaheim to take on the Angels next weekend. And that will be an important series for the Rangers. Like to play well in Colorado and go into Anaheim and see if you can make up some ground against the front-running Angels. Rosales turns on a Qualls pitch and wraps it down the left field line. It's going to be in the corner for extra bases. Into second, Adam Rosales, and that stops a streak of 20 consecutive Rangers retired by Astros pitching. First hit of the day for Adam Rosales.
Qualls trying to go outside with this pitch to Rosie, but it runs back inside, and Rosie turns on it. Drills it down that third baseline for a double.
No, with Rosales at second and 2 outs, Tomas Telis is going to come off the bench and pinch hit for Robinson Chirinos. Telis, you'll remember, was recalled from AAA Round Rock when Carlos Corporan had to go on the disabled list with that damaged left thumb. And Telis, first ball swinging, taps right back to Chad Qualls, who throws him out. No runs a hit, 1 left. We have finished 7.5. Astros leading the Rangers 10-0 on Fox Sports Southwest.
to get out of here, and as Manny says, wash this one off them. They will head to Coors Field in Denver, Colorado after this one for the second straight year. Last year, just a 2-game series in Denver, but this time it's 3 games, the first of those being tomorrow. AT&T Uverse reminds you to check out the game tomorrow at 7, Rangers Live, 7:30 that is. Rangers Live comes your way at 7 as Adrian Beltre tries to continue his mastery of Coors Field. Look at that average and 17 home runs. It's the Rangers and the Rockies tomorrow beginning at 7:30, guys.
All right, John, thank you very much. Troy Tulowitzki and company awaiting the arrival of the Rangers, and we have seen now the arrival of Anthony Bass to take over here in the 8th inning. Well, Bass becomes the 3rd pitcher used by Jeff Bannister this afternoon. Evan Gattis, first ball swinging, skies to right field. Ryan Rua over there to handle that for out number 1. Well, Gattis retired for the first time tonight. He is now 2 for 3. He's also been hit by a pitch and walked on 4 times with a run scored. Next will be Luis Valbuena. Valbuena's had himself quite a day. He's gotten his average up over the Mendoza line. 205 average now, and 4 RBI. 3 for 4, a couple of singles and a double. Each single driving in a pair of runs.
He's definitely had a good day today, swinging the bat well, coming up in some RBI situations, and he's delivered on a couple of those occasions.
Anthony Bass back to the plate. This is low and inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Last time we saw Anthony Bass in a ball game was on the 8th of July. It was against the Diamondbacks at home. Valbuena rockets one by the dive of Rougned Odor into right field. Valbuena with a 4-hit afternoon. He is 4 for 5. So 1 on, 1 out, and John Singleton coming to the plate. Well, here's today's strongest fan photo. Comes to us from Shelley. Shelley, thank you very much. Great photo. And if you want to have a chance to have yours shown on one of our broadcasts, use hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fan. Your photo might be selected to be aired during one of our telecasts. It's brought to you, as always, by the good folks at T-Mobile. Singleton 0 for 2. He has a walk and a sacrifice fly. A towering pop-up, shallow right field. Martin and Arua. Leonis Martin there to make the grab. That's out number 2. Valbuena staying at first, and Jake Marisnik will come face Anthony Bass with 2 outs. Another good crowd on hand here this afternoon in Houston. 36,532. 115,000 plus on hand for this weekend series down at Minute Maid Park. Marisnik lofts a fly ball toward the Crawford boxes in left. The Shields back there right in front of the AT&T sign and the out-of-town scoreboard to make the catch, and that will do it. No runs a hit, 1 left. We're going to the 9th in Houston. It's the Astros 10 and the Rangers nothing. Rangers have obviously a lot to do. They're trailing 10-0. Much to the dismay of Ranger fans in attendance here this afternoon. And Roberto Hernandez, the veteran right-hander, 34 years of age, out of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, will take over. And Hernandez appearing in his 20th ball game for Houston. Spot starts in and out of the bullpen and the rotation. Kind of a do-it-all kind of pitcher for the Astros. He brings his veteran presence to the Astros staff. He will face the top of the Ranger order. Delino Shields for his 4th at bat of the afternoon. Rougned Odor and Prince Fielder to follow. Rangers with just 3 hits this afternoon off the combination of Dallas Keuchel and Chad Qualls. And Delino DeShields takes strike 1. DeShields has grounded out, and he struck out twice. All 3 of his previous at-bats against Keuchel. Roberto Hernandez kind of jumping at the hitters. And he has Delino DeShields down in an 0-2 hole. One ball and 2 strikes. Hernandez back to the plate. Fly ball to right field. That's L.J. Hose out there to make the grab. That is out number 1. Next will be Rougned Odor. Odor, all of a sudden, is after last night, has become a fan favorite down here, as you can tell. I think
he has, and that's just, not surprising. But I think what's surprising for me about it all is he didn't have 2 years in the big leagues yet, and he's getting booed by visiting teams.
Well, now, were they booing him or saying Roogie?
I think that's a boo. Yeah, right. Nice try, but no.
Just thought I'd ask. To center field, that's kind of Death Valley out there. Jake Marisnik handles it. Out number 2. Well, the Rangers down to their final out here this afternoon, and Roberto Hernandez will face Prince Fielder. Fielder has 1 of the 3 Ranger hits. That was a first inning double. The other 2 times up, they were all against Dallas Keuchel. Prince went down swinging. Broken bat up the middle. Correa has the tough hop, and that's going to do it. 3 down for Roberto Hernandez, and the Astros cap off a thumping of the Rangers here this afternoon. They end up taking 2 out of 3 in this series. Dallas Keuchel was just masterful this afternoon. 7 innings of shutout baseball. Just 2 hits and 13 strikeouts. The Rangers could muster nothing against Keuchel or Qualls and Hernandez. And Rangers go down to defeat. The Astros win 2 out of 3. We will come back to wrap things up from Minute Maid Park in Houston right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.